The following is an original audio series from Sierra International Machinery, Pile of Scrap, with your host, John Sacco.
Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Pile of Scrap. Today I'm with Wes Carter, president of Atlantic Packaging. Welcome, Wes.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Now, I think people are going to go, okay, what does a packaging company have to do with recycling? I say everything.
I agree with you.
You know, I did a podcast with Jeremy back in May, and I kind of got, well, how does that figure? But from May to February now, this world has changed. And you, of all people, have awakened to the idea of creating a recyclable packaging product and closing the loop. Tell us how you got there. What morning did you wake up and say, this is it?
You know, I guess it's been an evolution, you know, of just how I view the supply chain. And quite honestly, you know, through the months of COVID, the emphasis on packaging with the general consumers, I mean, friends of mine who were coming to me and saying, hey, you're in this business. Can we not do anything about the amounts of packaging that are coming to our house? You know, and is there not a better way to do some recycling? And so the lights started going off for me. And, you know, I also recognize that the packaging industry, as much as any industry, has a responsibility to begin to own our part of how we solve a lot of these big problems related to pollution and carbon. And I felt like if the packaging industry would begin to pull the curtains back on some of the blind spots that we've had, and really begin talking about, you know, collaborating across the supply chain with the consumer products brands, the large brands, with the experts in recycling, and really begin to talk about, hey, there's a lot of these products that are in the supply chain that are valuable and can be recycled and put into new products. And right now, just basically because no one's really talking about it and innovating, we're just allowing a lot of those products to end up in landfills, or worse, end up in the environment. And so, yeah, that's the light sort of went off for me.
So, you know, speaking of the environment, because this is a background about you, I think people need to know. You're an avid surfer.
I am.
So the oceans, clean oceans, are hugely important to you, and you're an avid hunter.
Correct.
So the environment, the oceans, everything in whole is important to you. This isn't just you woke up one day and, I think I better do this for PR. You actually believe in it because you are a person of the land.
You know, it's, you know, the outdoors, the oceans, you know, waterways have been a part of the history of my family. Really, get emotional. You know, my grandfather, who founded Atlantic, was an avid outdoorsman. And, you know, the second part of his career, he lived in Florida and traveled with professional bass fishermen and wrote books about the outdoors. So that's what I grew up with. My father was a big outdoorsman. I grew up at Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina, and spent my entire youth in the ocean. And, you know, as I've gotten older, you know, I've had the privilege to travel to lots of places, you know, places like Indonesia and surf some of the greatest waves in the world. And, you know, it was just impossible to ignore. You know, it's impossible to ignore, you know, the offshore fishing and how it's been impacted by pollution. The kind of fishing that we were able to do when I was a kid, it's just not the same anymore. You know, something has shifted. And, you know, when I'm over in Indonesia or even in Central America surfing, the amount of pollution that's in the waterways, it's just so obvious.
And it's really sad.
It is.
And you know, I have, you know, I'm out there in social media a lot, obviously, and I've taken some pictures here of late of just trash on the side of the road, and it just pisses me off. Mm-hmm. Come on, quit being, it's a cultural problem. I see people stop throwing your crap on the side of the road, and I don't get it. But I'm really excited that I've learned from you something here as we started talking. And I got this here, the stretch film. Plastic. First thing is people are going to, boogeyman, man, this is no good for the environment. But you, with this new vision that you have on your product development, have found, and working with the people who make it, you or they make the resins to create this product, you're closing the loop in the recycling. Tell us about what you've done with this and how it's you've closed the loop on it because of your initiative.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm in the packaging industry and I do sell a lot of plastic products. And I think for those of us that are in this part of the business, really analyzing where plastic packaging makes really good sense, because there's a lot of places that it does. And then there's other areas that it just doesn't, like single-use plastic. But one area that I believe plastic packaging is an absolute revolution is stretch packaging, which is this product here is stretch film. As most folks know, this product is used to consolidate loads for shipping. So whether you're in the food industry, the beverage industry, medical device, automotive, textiles, you name it, pretty much everybody uses this product to consolidate a load.
Okay, so everybody who's going to see this or listen to this knows that stretch film, when you go to a big house, take a Costco. I'm just going to use Costco because they got all these pallets of paper towels or toilet paper or whatever the product is, and it's all wrapped in this product.
Correct.
Now, tell us how you were able to work with in closing that loop, how you were able to educate these people in getting this product back into the recycle stream without having it put into the waste stream.
Sure. So, first and foremost, high performance stretch film, which is primarily what Atlantic sells, is made from the most high quality premium resins that are available. They're developed by people like Dow and Exxon. So this product has no ink on it. It has no adhesive on it. It's not laminated. It is pure polyethylene, high quality resin. So for that reason, and talking to guys like you in this industry, I began to realize this product is about as recyclable as plastic can be. And the demand for recycled content in products has never been higher. All the big brands want post-consumer resin in their products. Well, the big issue they have is the feedstocks. We can't find clean feedstocks for plastic to create these resins. And I said, you know what? There's nothing cleaner than stretch film. It's perfect. The problem is nobody is looking at it as a resource. Everyone's looking at it as garbage. So my idea was to work closely with some of the large brands we deal with, the beverage industry, for instance. The big beverage guys use a ton of stretch film. They're shipping so many pallets of product. And so the idea was, if the beverage guys, they typically ship to distribution centers. So it's not going direct to a consumer, it's going to distribution centers. So the number of inputs is just not all that large in comparison to the inputs of consumers.
Okay.
So it was, if we can work with the distributor locations to begin to view this as a resource, put in sophisticated baling systems, establish a market price for the stretch film recyclable that actually was attractive to people. Hey, this isn't garbage. This stuff is worth 20 cents a pound, 25 cents a pound. Begin to create that market, then consolidate those bales and ship them to the large companies that are reprocessing that product.
Okay, so let's go there for a second. The company, now the market will always dictate the price, supply and demand.
Sure,
okay.
Of course.
Right now, they can't get enough of this clean stretch film for repurposing.
Correct.
Okay, like a steel mill uses scrap metal to make new steel.
Correct.
What do we call the plastic? Give me the exact name of the plastic people that are reusing this and making it. What do we call them?
One of our major partners is a company called Berry Plastics, which is one of the largest plastics companies on the planet. And the great thing about Berry is that they're so diversified. So they don't only make stretch film, they make shrink bundling film, and they make can liners, and they make top sheet material. So for them, they make this stretch film. So it's sort of a perfect deal. If we can bale their stretch film and get it back to their facilities, they've got the infrastructure to recycle it and repurpose it and put it into other products internally.
How are they doing? Are they flaking it, chopping it? What are they doing?
Traditionally, there's been a fair amount of flaking simply because these companies, they created a lot of their own waste, just trim waste and things like that. But they are now investing in the infrastructure to actually turn it back into pellets.
So are you really now, because you're packaging and you're going to the big bottling houses and the distribution centers who receive this, is it your conversation with them now saying, hey, When you get your pallet full of the stretch film, take it off, don't put it in, commingle it with other garbage, put it directly in its own clean bin and then bale it, and you can get back to the consumer of this. Is it you who's starting this conversation?
Can
you take credit for it?
I'll take some credit for it.
Okay.
I mean, it is a collaboration. I mean, the only way that this is successful is if multiple parties are all invested in this happening. But because we are the primary or one of the largest sellers of this product, I felt like, hey, we have to be the voice here. We have to be the voice that's advocating for being sure that this resource that we sell does not end up in landfills.
So how much, and I don't know if you would have this answer, but it would be a good thing to start looking into. What percentage of this stretch film is now being pulled out of the waste stream and put back into the recycling stream from the distribution? Just talking distribution centers alone right now.
It's really low.
It's really low.
It's really low.
Okay, it's low today. A year from now, it's not going to be, is it?
If we can get the consumer products brands to believe in this, and I believe that we can, especially if we can create a market where maybe it's never going to be wildly profitable, but at minimum, maybe it's cost neutral. And these brands have such a renewed investment or a new investment in sustainable practices. I mean, the brands, there's been a really big shift. It's no longer all about cost. The brands want to be environmentally responsible. So really right now what I'm trying to do is just prove to everybody that this is doable. We can do this. It's just never been done before.
I have a friend out of Arizona who is a customer of Sierra, and they work with big companies in helping them repurpose, recycle what they use within their industries or whatever they are. So they're not throwing this away, but that's on a small level. These big distribution houses, I'm sure Amazon uses an enormous amount of this. I'm sure, you name it, Pepsi and Coca-Cola and Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch, and they're
You just named 50 million pounds of stretch film probably.
We need to get that 50 million pounds back into the recycling stream. But here's the thing. Are there enough people that will consume that? I asked you this last night, and I want to make sure I got the answer. If all that 50 million pounds of stretch film from those distribution centers got back into the recycling stream, can they be consumed and repurposed?
Yes, I believe that they can.
That's the message, Wes. This is where these big companies, instead of paying money for it to go to be hauled away to a landfill or somewhere else, they can play their part in getting this back into. So it's like scrap metal, iron. There's enough steel mills in the United States and around the world. Scrap metal's always going somewhere. If we can get that stretch film, and it's known that they can be used, because U.S. used to dump so much plastic into China. And some like ag film that we used to deal with out at Sierra, California, because we're in the San Joaquin Valley. But this ag film had dirt and it had foliage, and it was just so contaminated. China woke up one day with a green conscience, and they put a green wall and said, we're not accepting this anymore. So now everybody going, oh my God, where are we going with the plastic? They're going to the landfill. They just start throwing it away.
Yeah, tragic.
So, and this is the conversation. And this is why I'm really excited to be here with you, because this is the message. People like you from industry, you're not a recycler.
No.
But you are creating the conversation to get the big people who use this product to understand it's recyclable. We're going to do our part. We're going to bring industry. We're going to be in the recycling industry with the packaging, with the product manufacturers together and create this. This is exciting because this is where we need to go. Now, I got something here, and because I think people need to understand what this is: a Keurig coffee in this plastic container. This is single-use plastic.
It is.
And the problem with this, and I'm in the recycling, so you make your coffee, okay, that's great. But now this, is it recyclable? Technically, yes. Is it recyclable profitably? Oh, no. You would have to fill up this room here with this to maybe make one bale of it. Real estate at MRFs is very expensive. Mm-hmm. So when a MRF that separates the material and bales it and gets it to the different consumers want to handle this and put in, with real estate being so, how about Los Angeles, Atlanta, Chicago, New York, San Francisco, MRFs in those cities, the real estate is a premium. You can't, this is the big challenge down the road. But I don't want to focus on this because you've created the conversation and you are a leader in creating this conversation now, and that's going to bode well. So,
well, I do think you bring up a good point though, because I do think, and this is the way, I think we have to be honest and transparent in our analysis of plastic packaging through the supply chain. So anyone who says all plastic is bad and needs to go away, that's black and white thinking, and quite honestly, just incorrect.
You know what? I'm sorry to interrupt, but I had this conversation with Leonard Zeid about paper, but virgin paper. Oh, we're destroying our forests. No, we're not. There are tree farms for the pulp, and we're not destroying. Are we destroying the land when we harvest wheat, cotton, or corn? No. Lettuce? No. Trees are actually grown to be made into paper.
I read something the other day.
Plastic, not all plastic's bad.
Elon Musk, put out that big deal where he was going to award $100 million to whoever came up with the best carbon capture technology. And I was listening to somebody talk, and they're like, yeah, I'm really looking forward to the person that invents forests. And he makes a good point. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, we need more carbon capture technologies, but planting trees, that's where you capture carbon, in the soil. So there is a synchronicity with the way that we farm and capturing carbon to offset some of the carbon that we release. So more regenerative farming practices, cultivating the land, keeping soil healthy so it can capture carbon, I think has to be a part of the conversation.
It's this discussion, this is why it's great. This is why I'm really excited being here with you to talk about this, because I think people are going to start saying, wait a minute, there is more about recycling that even those who are in the recycling industry to learn, and now they're going to get involved. They're going to go to their local distribution houses and they're going to work to try to recycle this, because I say this every podcast, Wes, the recycling, we are the original environmentalist. Okay, we are. We are the ones who kept this stuff from landfills and streets and gutters and what have you. This is going to take off. And I'm going to take from your stretch film that is high quality resin plastic that is very recyclable to me, one of the most exciting products I've ever heard of coming in the packaging industry is this.
The Fishbone.
The Fishbone. Now, I put out on my LinkedIn a small video I did, and it just came to me, they were Mott's juice, apple juices that had the plastic ring. What do you call those things? The
industry name is a high cone ring.
High cone ring. And it's plastic. And this is the stuff you see on documentaries that are around turtles' necks.
Yeah. For the last 50 years, they've been around turtles' necks. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're not biodegradable.
No.
But now this can holder, tell us about this, because this, when I said I did the video, I said, I can't wait for this product. Okay? I want this out there. I want everybody, I want Pepsi-Cola, I want Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, Coors. I want everyone to know this is your future. Not because plastic is bad, but this is biodegradable in 12 weeks. This is recyclable and made from a recycled part. So tell me how you got into this. This is so exciting. I'm really pumped up about this.
And I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about Fishbone. I think it's one of the more innovative packaging products, certainly that we've ever brought to market. And I do believe it's transformational. And so, as I mentioned before, when I'm evaluating plastic packaging, the one area that I think it's really problematic is consumer destined single-use plastics. The recycling infrastructure domestically for recycling plastics at the consumer level is not where it needs to be. The recycling infrastructure for recycling paper is. I mean, this amount of corrugated we're recycling in this country. So to me, one area that we really need to focus on in finding alternatives to plastic packaging is in single use. And what attracted me to this product, quite honestly, it's my experience in the ocean. Like I mentioned, those 6-pack rings have been a problem since I was a kid. I mean, we have known that those things were choking turtles and sea life and, but again, today it's still the predominant packaging used in the beverage industry. So why is that? It's mainly being driven by cost. So when we were introduced, there was some inventors out of California who created this product, and they approached Atlantic and they said, hey, we're 5 guys, we invented this product, we think it's revolutionary, we're looking for a partner to take it into market, and we think you guys are the right guys. And we looked at it and said, wow, yes, we want to take this to market. We've already got a great presence in the beverage industry, so we've already got the avenues to get this introduced. It was important to develop equipment to be able to apply this at high speed, and we have a very developed packaging equipment program and some great partners, so we were able to do that as well. So, we've been working on this for the last 2 years, and we officially launched Fishbone mid fourth quarter last year, so it's still very new, but the reception has really been fantastic.
Okay, the reception, short term, fantastic. How are the results? Are people buying? Are these big companies buying? Are they like sticking the toe in the water, or are they placing orders with you? Come on now, where are they?
Yes, we have received some large orders. We've sold several of our BCF 40 machine, which is our 240 a minute. 240 cans per minute machine. It's a very sophisticated.
Hey, you and I are in the equipment business together.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've sold a few of those to some pretty big name brands. We've also had a lot of success in the beer industry, especially with some of the regional brewers. A lot of those craft breweries, they have an ethos with their brand that's about being environmentally friendly. And so this product matches up really well with them. So without dropping too many names, we have some very recognizable brands that have made some investments to start to move to this product.
Now, are you actually manufacturing this product, the Fishbone can holder? You actually take the paper and some facility here in the United States, you're actually manufacturing this?
Absolutely.
Where is that at?
The board, absolutely. The board itself comes from a mill in Sweden, a company called Billerud Korsnäs, which is the most sustainable paper mill in the world. They have a zero carbon footprint at that mill, which is a remarkable feat for a paper mill. So we partnered with those guys because we wanted our paper to be as sustainable as possible. So it starts with that sheet. In our printing facility, which is in Tabor City, North Carolina, which is just inland of Myrtle Beach. We've got a very nice ISO certified facility there, and we print the fish bones, custom print to any graphic that our customer might want, and we die cut them as well. So all that's done in-house at Atlantic. We offer 6 generic fish bones with some print on them if somebody just wants to order a couple of thousand to get started. Or people can order custom, with their brand. We can do promotions. Really, it's totally flexible. So one of the cool advantages over a high cone too is not only is it compostable, fully curbside recyclable, but it also is great for marketing because you can print on it, which you never could on those 6-pack rings.
No, I'm taking this with me. I'm going to Balcones Resources and meeting with my friend Kerry Getter. They got the state-of-the-art MRF. I mean, it's these optical sorters and these for plastics and for the screens for paper. He'll have never seen this, and I'm going to introduce it to him. And I'm going to make sure that he gets the word that this is coming down the pike and that we need to get the messaging out that this needs people at home, because this is the single use. The consumer goes to the store, grabs a 6-pack or whatever it is. They know this has to go into the blue bin or the recycle bin. Whatever. Some recycle bins aren't blue, so
sure.
Well, I'm going to introduce this to him because I think in the end there may be more. It's more efficient because during the pandemic, because you talk about COVID and the different things that have happened. In LA, I did a podcast with my friend Jason Young. When I first started the podcast, A Pile of Scrap, and we were talking, and we talked a lot. He said during the pandemic, the contamination rates have skyrocketed.
Sure.
Because everybody's staying home, right? And you're running out of places to put your garbage. The blue bin's free. The garbage bin comes at a cost. So now you're getting diapers, and you're getting food waste, and you're getting other stuff in the blue bin. Contamination rates are going up. Cost of sorting it is going up. So when we come out of the pandemic, and I think life gets back to normal sometime later this year, we can only hope, and the vaccine take hold, that this is going to be more coming out of people's households. And they got to know, we're putting this in the blue bin. This is recyclable. This isn't waste. This is recyclable. So we're going to create a whole new recycled product. And you're leading the way, Wes.
Well, I'm happy just to be a part of the conversation. We believe we do have a responsibility as a packaging company, a large packaging company that has a fair amount of influence, that, we are introducing environmentally friendly options, and that takes creativity and innovation. And again, and what I love about what you're doing with your podcast, the area that we see where we need the most emphasis as well is educating consumers. We've done some studies, some independent studies at Clemson University, bringing in consumers and getting their feedback on certain products. And it's pretty overwhelming how much misinformation is out there. And again, the brands, the large consumer products brands, want to serve customers. If the consumers demand more paper-based packaging products at their homes, that's what the brands will deliver to them. We just have to educate the consumers and let them understand that, like, hey, most of the plastic that comes to your house doesn't get recycled. Even though you put it in that blue bin, it ends up in the landfill, or worse, it ends up in the ocean or the environment. Let's pivot away from single-use plastics to more sustainable paper-based products like the Fishbone in that area of the supply chain.
Let's get back to something you said. Not all plastic is bad. The PET bottle is a highly recyclable product. Milk jugs, value is crazy right now. HDP color, the detergent bottles, very recyclable. Okay, there's a good market for that. Good product, good packaging, recyclable. That's good. And so I just want to make sure, I am not saying plastic is bad in this podcast. For whoever's listening, plastic isn't bad, but there is better use of materials for the recycling program when it gets to the consumer level. But the plastics that they use for detergent bottles and milk jugs, fantastic product, very recyclable, and a good commodity value. So I want to go to something, your new little passion.
Okay.
A New Earth project.
A New Earth project.
You are super fired up about this.
I am super fired up about it.
Talk to me about that. Because I think this is something, this isn't bullcrap. This is real passion, real emotion from Wes Carter. Tell us about it.
So, yeah, the New Earth project has really been a kind of a labor of love and not something that has been a long time in development. I mean, it just sort of appeared. And, the day after Christmas, actually, Darren, who's a friend of mine, called me up and said, hey, I know a guy named Peter King, who lives in Hawaii. He's very connected to the professional surfing community, and he wants to do a documentary about cleaning up the oceans and getting plastic out of the oceans. And we were talking a little bit about it, and he's like, I really want to find a partner in industry that could potentially, bring another side to the conversation. And Darren said, I think Atlantic's the right company for you. I need you to talk to Wes. So I got on the phone with Peter, and literally this is the day after Christmas, and we're FaceTiming. I'm in Park City, Utah, and he's in the North Shore of Oahu. And over that next 2 hours, we discussed how the professional surfing industry, or the professional surfing community, as much as anybody, sees the ravages of plastic pollution, because these guys are traveling all over the world to some of the greatest, most beautiful surf spots. And a lot of those are in third world countries, and the plastic pollution is really, really problematic. So they are environmental advocates, and I've got a deep passion for surfing, so there was something personal there for me as well. But what we started to establish is, if we can connect the advocates, the surfers, with industry like my industry that could actually impact this problem. Because we can have all the advocates that we want, but if those advocates can't link back to the industry, the supply chain that quite honestly is creating the problem, and it's not one industry. I mean, consumers are contributors, consumer products companies are contributors, packaging companies are contributors, but the idea was, let's bring those parties together with this documentary series and talk about finally all collaborating and getting really creative and working together to solve this problem. So, after that happened, a week later, I was on an airplane to Hawaii, and we began to start this conversation. And it's just been really exciting. So I really hope that the documentary, The New Earth Project, will be a way to educate the customers, educate the general public about the opportunities for recycling, the opportunities for new products that can replace single-use plastic, and really inspire our supply chain more than anything else, to get the supply chain to begin to say, hey, we need to do this.
Well, okay, Sierra, we manufacture balers and conveyors, and you and I have talked about this. We can put a baler, and Sierra, my brother Philip and I have discussed it. We're willing to put a baler and conveyor on a vessel out there in the Pacific to start cleaning up. They could haul this stuff out with a net. The way I see it is, take it out of the ocean, skim it, pull it out, bale it, because for space purposes on any barge or hull of a ship. I'm involved. I've actually put this out a few times over the years. No takers, because the bottom line, this takes a lot of money.
Yep.
It takes a lot of resources, and government isn't, I don't think, the answer. I think industry, I think the big bottling companies, I think the big the big packaging companies, because I'm going to tell you, I don't think it's Procter & Gamble's fault that their product ends up in the ocean. I think it's a cultural issue with people and being so lazy, but that's beside the point. I think if we can bring these big manufacturers together with the recycling industry, with advocates like you, we should be able to come together and at least attempt the first true cleanup. But then you and I were talking, I was wondering, well, is there a government that's going to allow this barge to enter its waters, into its port, to go to a facility, to be separated, maybe burned for an incineration plant, RDF, refuse-derived fuel, take the recyclables out, repurpose it, see what's there? We have to start someplace. Sierra wants to be involved. You are leading the charge with your, New Earth project.
I've been so inspired by your vision of what this ocean cleanup could look like. And I really think if we can get enough people on board and enough buy-in, this could be the great environmental cleanup of our generation. I mean, this could be something that we, could all be sitting on the rocking chairs in 30 years and go, wow, look what we did. Look what we did for our children and our children's children. And I do, again, believe it's about massive collaboration. It's going to take government too. I mean, we need people at the government level that support it. It's going to take private enterprise. It's going to take some thought leaders and some highly successful business leaders who are willing to say, hey, I'm willing to put in $100 million as a part of this. And then all of us sitting around the table, every party saying, how do we do this? Well, how do we effectively do it? And what you mentioned too about, maybe part of what we do is work with some of these countries in the South Pacific, and maybe the U.S. government helps fund some of the recycling infrastructure that is needed over there to accept some of this trash. I mean, there's so many creative ideas, and at the end of the day, I think we can do this. It's just about will.
It's will, but we have to start the conversation, and you're starting the conversation on a larger level now. And, look, I'll look straight in the camera and I'll say, hey, Elon Musk, you're one of the most innovative human beings on this planet today. Listen, help Bill Gates. You like feeding the people. But you know what? You can't feed people when your oceans are polluted and the fish are dying because of the pollution. There are some people, Jeff Bezos, look, people, your packaging at Amazon, not all of it's recyclable.
Nope.
Now, I'm not calling them out in a negative way, but these people have the firepower, the billions of dollars, and we don't need billions. We need to just some money to get going here. And if they're on board, you're going to have governments on board. You're going to have industry on board. Think about, look, we're not going to clean up the oceans and the lakes and rivers across this world, I don't think, in our lifetime. But if we can start now, Wes, you will be, you will be remembered because you're the one who's starting this, trying to bring it together. You're really one of the passionate guys. I've talked to people who do, but you're actually doing something about it.
Well, This is certainly not about me. I want to be a part of the conversation because I do believe that the position our company sits in, we just touch a lot of areas of the supply chain, and so our ability to bring those parties together, I think, is significant, and I see that, and really that's, the role I want to play is just that, bringing all these parties together so that we can collaborate, because I am acutely aware that Wes Carter, Atlantic Packaging, can't begin to solve this problem on our own. But collectively, we absolutely can. And, at the rate we're going right now, this problem, the amount of plastic that's in the ocean today, in 10 years, the estimates are that it will be 3 times that much. So this problem isn't getting better, just because we've, stopped using plastic straws. We are using more plastic packaging and more plastic products than we ever have before. So if we do nothing, it's going to choke our waterways. The youth that I had, my children won't have. My children's children certainly won't have. And so I do believe we have an imperative responsibility to begin to have this conversation. And to your point, to the Jeff Bezos and the Elon Musks, like, what could be more important than this? Really? I mean, if we really want to do something significant, let's first and foremost, we got to start to curb the tide. We got to quit putting the plastic in the ocean. And industry can do that. We can do that as industry. Then we need innovative companies like you guys in recycling, and governments and funding to actually do the cleanup. We got to quit putting it in, and we got to clean it up. Both of those things. And again, if we collaborate and work together, I think we've proven as humans, there's really little we cannot do. We're great innovators, great creators if we collaborate.
Wes, I gotta tell you, what a great day, great night last night, getting to know more about you, learning about your passion, seeing it, feeling it, because it's there. It's just palpable. I mean, it's just there. It's awesome. You have a great facility here. You're testing your products, your vision, and this is part of the recycling world, and you're part of it. And you may not be a recycler, quote unquote recycler, but you're part of the recycling solution. And I appreciate you. Thank you for your time, my friend.
Absolutely.
It's been an honor to be here with
Thanks,
you.
John.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
and I
sir.
look forward to our collaboration. And with all these big companies, are going to hear this and go, we're in.
Yes, this is the beginning.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
John.
And that's it for another episode of Pile of Scrap.
This has been a Sierra International Machinery original audio series. Thanks for listening. Please share this podcast and make sure to subscribe.